Good morning, everyone. Welcome inside the Faith Loop. It is Wednesday, and look who's back.
I'm here.
Yes, you are. You look good, too.
Always.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Joined here by my dad, Robert French. We are on Wednesday, or Wednesday, whichever you prefer. December 3rd, year of our Lord, 5786. We've got day 2,111,309. Your sound is still on there, Dad. Just an FYI. Kill it. And it's muted. So, we wanted to talk today. Yesterday, I know it was... I went heavy. It was fun, though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you did.
Jumped right out there in the middle of it. Might as well. I can't sing and dance.
That's
it. I can, but...
well, you might be able to dance.
I didn't say I couldn't carry... I didn't say I could carry a tune. I just said I could sing.
Yeah.
It may not be good, but I can still sing. Right? But I think it's necessary, and these are things, the topics, what we talked about inside the faith loop. What is inside our faith? Because faith is not a noun, it's not a thing, it's not something you're given. It's something that's created from what you're convinced of, your convictions. Are you persuaded? Are you fully persuaded of truth? But see, and here is just as Pilate said to Jesus when he said, I'm here to bear witness to the truth. He says, well, what is truth? Wasn't a quip. This is something that has been a thought process for many years.
Yep.
Thousands of years. And I'd never done this before, but when we talk about creation, of course, in today's society, it's all just whether, especially what we deal with Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And the beginning of evolutionary theory that started back in the early and mid 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
But had been around long before that.
Oh, yeah.
Even I recently came to understand that the philosopher Epicurus, who famously set a philosophy in motion that was counter to the Stoic philosophy, mm-hmm. Epicureanism, and their idea of origin was of a evolutionary thought process. Mm-hmm. So it's been around a long time. This is back in BC times in Greece.
Nothing new.
Right?
No.
So I think when we talk about why we talk about, the faith loop, life is cyclical. Our understanding of the day and who we are and how we exist is based upon, are we convinced of the truth?
Yeah.
But we have to understand what truth is and what those things are, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything has to have a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Scripture teaches this. It talks about it. Jesus talked about it when he said, if you build your house on the sand, you got a problem if the storm comes. But if you build your house on a rock, it'll stand.
Right.
So foundation is very important. And so this is what I think the enemy tries to mess with so much, is the foundation of mankind.
Absolutely.
And if we approach things from the wrong foundation, we're going to get the wrong kind of a building.
Yeah.
And so, they're all there. I mean, creation myths.
Well, we're going to talk about them today.
As long as your arm or longer, it's just, and so foundationally, it is really important. For instance, the whole lifestyle of a people can be built on that foundation. Mm-hmm. And so what they believe then, what they become to believe and do is from the foundation they believe.
Absolutely, Dad.
And it creates their whole society.
Right. It's the cracks that's shown in this culture,
yep.
in this nation.
Absolutely.
Because, that's the war. There are people that want to remove the Constitution.
Sure.
From the nature of this country.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one way or the other. I don't believe in any of it. I think it's all nonsense. Just to be fair. Let's be transparent. There's a good common word today. To be transparent, I think they're all nuts. Anywho.
Well, I was listening this morning coming in, and the guy was talking about Hamilton, President Hamilton. He wanted to bring it back to a sovereign.
Yeah.
United States.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's a president now. He wants to be the sovereign. So, what's new in our government? What's new? The same old thing been going on since George.
What's funny is, see, that's the thing. You fight this war and whatnot. I just find it fascinating that people die. People are getting slaughtered all the time. For what? And I don't want to go too far afield here because I plucked my head. But anyway, I just, and going back to foundations, it's for what? Does it answer or solve anything? Not that I'm aware of, because I haven't seen any solutions in our world today. And I know, the dispensational theology will tell you, there's the man coming, he's going to set everything and whatnot. I was watching this deal the other day talking about all the stuff that's happening. Israel and boom, is Trump the Antichrist? No, he's not. So this all isn't, we're not there yet. All right, man. I don't think, we're still just so, again, foundation. We're just so lost in stuff. It's fascinating to me to watch us flounder. And it's all due to this, in my estimation. It has to do with creation itself.
Yep.
Because we look at some of the creation stories, and we call them myths, because, after all, science,
Yeah.
It's always been a fascinating subject, Dad, I think, because when you look at the earth, and we've talked about these things, then you look up in the sky and you wonder, really? Right? We've never been able to create a tree that I'm aware of.
No. Or a blade of grass or anything. Mm-hmm. We can't create anything that we see.
We can't take the matter and create something out of it.
No. We can cut a tree down and take the wood and build a house, but that ain't creating nothing.
What we've been able to do, and what was since the discovery of DNA, geneticists have been able to manipulate DNA to do things. Yeah. And this is what I think was happening prior to the flood too.
Yeah.
I think there was some things that have always been going on with man, been problematic. What do we see through history? And as followers of Jesus, how do we understand the Genesis narrative? What is it about? How does it contrast? Here's another little piece of history. I want to lay this foundation before we get to these. Most scholars, most people, and this is true, it's a fact. If you just look at it in history, it's real. I mean, you can't sit and argue these things. It's just a fact. But the reason many people just think of Genesis as another one of these creation stories is it came much later. And it does, and every story has a flood story, has an origin, a flood, and boom. It's the way it is. There are certain things that the academics will say, hey, you know, it smacks of some of the early stories from Babylonian, Sumerian texts, blah, blah, blah. We're going to read them, and I'm going to show you that it really doesn't. But they say it because it came later than all of them. And the reason it came later is because Jehovah finally decided to step in and say something. He had come to a place where he had re-engaged mankind, found a man in Abraham whom he could relate to, who would relate back to him,
Right.
and set things in motion. And when he came back and he talked with Moses, and he set in the Torah the story or the truth. One of the things that I think is fascinating, and I think we get wrong, we're so focused, hyper focused on the origin of the universe, that we miss the story or the understanding of things that are right in front of our face. This is not about the universe. The Genesis narrative is not about the universe. The Genesis narrative is about mankind. The earth and the heavens above were formed for mankind. Because Jehovah said, let us go down. This is the part that is interesting, and we adulterate because this is the rebellion. We want to take the universe. Let us go down and make man in our image and after our likeness. If anybody sits and tells you they can tell you what the origin or understand the origin of the universe, they're a liar. They just are. Simple as that. I don't believe in a young earth or a young universe theory and all that nonsense. Look out there. Now, we have, because of science, been able to see out into it.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's vast. Just within this galaxy, how many solar systems are there? Right? Star systems. Just within this galaxy alone. Okay? Not to mention all the other galaxies we've seen throughout the universe.
Right.
Jehovah would have told us that. This isn't about the universe. It isn't about the creation of the universe. Not about the origin of the universe. You don't know. You don't. And it's not the purpose of it. That's what's problematic. We keep changing the purpose of the Genesis narrative. The purpose of the Genesis narrative was to create all the nonsense that had come before and set man in a place where he understood his origin, who he is, what he's supposed to be, how he's supposed to live.
Yep.
That was the point of the Genesis narrative. Period. If we will start there, the rest will be made known.
Yep.
In its due time.
Yep. I agree.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, you know, they talk about the Earth being our Earth and our galaxy and all of it so many billion years old. Okay. It all started with a big bang. My first question is, what blew up? It must have been really vast. I mean, it must have been an explosion to end all explosions. And then I've seen the after effects of dynamite blasts and things like that, and I never saw anything come out perfectly round or anything like that. It's always chunks, broken pieces, has edges. Don't come out round. It doesn't come out like this. And then people say, I've had people say to me through the years, well, how can you believe God always was? Well, matter has always been. So tell me you can date it. Tell me you can date the age of matter. You can't, because matter's always been. When God made the heavens and the earth, he took things, I believe, this is what I personally believe, he took things that existed and made them as he wanted them to be.
He didn't, and that's a terrible use of language.
It is.
Because he didn't make them.
No.
See, that word created in Hebrew doesn't mean making something.
No, it doesn't.
It means fill, or to make fat.
To fill it up.
To fill it up. So in the beginning, God filled the heavens and the earth. That's what it says.
Yeah. With things that existed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The earth probably was there already. It was just in chaos. We don't know. See, but that's the thing. We there's a lot, I think, a lot of assumption.
What is? It is. Because as you said, this is what he told Adam and Eve. He told them to be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
I think you're missing it, Dad.
Yeah, I probably am. Probably am. I'm old, you know.
Set in your ways.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Exactly true. But we're so caught up in this fantastic imagery in our minds about the creation of the universe.
Right.
You don't even know who you're supposed to be. And everybody sits around and talks about how broken in Christianity. Well, you know, we just all got to try to get along. Nobody wants to get along. That's why there's all this denominationalism and splits, and we talk about ecumenicalism. Baloney.
Yeah.
Baloney. They don't care. They don't want to get it. They believe they're right. And ain't none of them right. That's what I said yesterday, and I'll stand by it. Christianity is an adulteration of the truth. And it's why we see it in the condition that it's in. Because it shows no ability or nothing. Why would it continue to fracture and splinter and what? Why does this one follow Apollos and this one Cephas? And this one says, I follow Paul. What about Jesus? Well, why does this one follow Aquinas and this one Augustine and this one Luther and this one Calvin? What about Jesus? See, we don't ever even think to put that in that terminology. Because after all, we're righteous.
You know, to your point, they call it Calvinism, Lutheranism. Well, wait a minute. I thought it was the Scripture. I thought it was the Bible. I thought it was just the truth that Jesus brought. What about Jesus-ism?
Jesus.
Yeah.
I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man comes to the Father except through me.
Right.
Well, I think I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, pretty simple. Pretty simple.
That. So, yeah, I do have a little bit of foundational thought process to, as Dad was talking about earlier, foundations to what I'm talking about here and what I'm saying. I'm not just pulling this out because I'm like, I want to be provocative. I don't really want to be provocative. It's not my goal. It's not my intent. I'm not trying to provoke anybody. I am simply stating what I see within the Scripture, within what we call the Bible. the accounts. And when I sit and when I talk with the Lord and meditate on the Word, what that comes to. And these are the things that we look at and we say, hey, you know what? Isn't this the truth?
Yep.
We are going to, and again, the Genesis narrative, what is it about? Is it about the universe? No, it's about mankind. And when we talk, there's Drew, you have that link in the description. The link, this is part of, these are 16 incredible ancient creation stories. That's the name of this. From History Collection. There's many others. You can search, if you type in your search bar, creation stories from different cultures, you can find all kinds of stuff. That's what I do. Well, I'm not afraid to read it.
No.
I think most of it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
actually, it's terrible. It's actually kind of tragic. But number one on the list here on this history collection piece is from Proto-Indo-Europeans have various creation myths, but most involved a giant feeding from the primal cow named Adumbla. Adumbla? I think that's what
something like that, yeah.
Ymir is the personification of chaos. Well, that's fantastic. Before the creation. Well, see, what does that sound like? The earth was void and without form. It was chaos. He was the first being in Norse mythology, arriving much sooner than other well-known Nordic gods such as Thor or Odin. Ymir inhabited a void.
Good luck pronouncing that word.
Ginnungagap, something like Ginnungagap.
I guess.
Where no fertile land or water existed. However, with nothing to nourish Ymir, he had to be fed from the udder of Aduhulma, something like that. A primal cow who was formed from dripping ice. Well, where'd the dripping ice come from? While he was feeding, two other giants were formed asexually from the sweat of Ymir's armpits. And a third giant was formed from Ymir's legs. The primal cow was fed by a salt lick that contained Buri, the first of the Old Norse god. As he licked, Buri was freed, and Buri then produced a son. Buri's son Bor mated with Ymir's descendant Bestla. Bor and Bestla's union produced Odin, chief of the Old Norse gods. Odin was unhappy with Ymir's ability to create offspring and decided to dismember Ymir. Ymir's body parts then became the substances that created the cosmos. The unnamed collection of anonymous Norse poems, and it gives the poem. I'm not going to read all that into this, but that's one right there. Question him. The man explains that for 4 days he grew inside a pea pod. On the 5th day he emerged fully formed. When he emerged, he had a pain in his stomach. Alongside him were pools of water, and when he drank from them, the pain in his stomach stopped. The raven examined the man and then himself. Raven lifted off his mask. He stared up and down at the man in awe of their similarities until Raven finally spoke. "What are you? From where did you come? I have never seen anything like you." Raven had realized man shared the same form as himself. So if you're watching the ancient alien guys, Dad, they'd be saying like, "See, he took his mask off. It was a helmet. He was from another planet or something." I'd believe that more than more than this mask. That's another one. Dad, let's go down here. I think this one is interesting. Number 4, the Hindu ones.
Number 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hindus.
Yeah.
says, for Hindus, there is no one story of creation, but multiple creation stories. Well, pick one. That tell of cyclic creation and destruction. The story of Vishnu is one creation story. There was a very large cobra floating along the ocean. Now, I don't know where the cobra came from or the ocean he's floating in. But anyway, within its coils was a sleeping Vishnu. Suddenly a lotus began growing from Vishnu's navel. When the lotus blooms, it is revealed that Brahma, a four-headed demigod, is contained inside. Brahma decides he needs to create and meditates on this for eons. Brahma decides to split the lotus into three separate portions. One part of the lotus becomes the heavens, second piece of the lotus becomes the sky, and the third part of the lotus becomes the earth. He creates birds, fish, trees, plants, humans, and other animals to reside on the earth. Well, there you go.
Yep.
My question is, where are they floating? In what ocean? Because there's no earth yet. It hadn't been created yet. There's a cobra floating in the ocean. He's in the bosom of Vishnu. And these lotus petals create all the other stuff.
But see, even in this, even when you read all these things, we talk about, the earth in Christianity, it's young. There's nothing before that. It was just nothing. There was nothing. And even with Jehovah, because we say this is the Christian idea of it, he exists outside the physical universe because he's spirit, whatever that means.
Whatever it is, yeah.
And so he could exist in some plane that was nothing, but then made something. So you understand, and here in all these creation stories, Dad, you see something that physically existed.
Yeah.
So they're looking up at the universe and going, well, somewhere out there. So that's what I get from this. And I understand that thought process, but they're not saying there wasn't something that wasn't there before.
No.
In all of these. And I think that's where even evolutionary thought comes from. Right. And when they start talking about this is what evolutionists say, well, they're just using, these things to say how it all came about.
Right.
Well, no, I don't agree with any of those things, but at least you're looking at something that here's another. I think the number 7, the Zoroastrian creation story. I think this one is very common in thought process. Go ahead.
Zoroastrian creation stories tell of two opposing beings creating beneficial beings and their opposite noxious counterparts. Zoroastrianism is one of the oldest religions in the world. Mm-hmm. In its creation story, there are two opposing forces, Ahura Mazda and Angra Mainyu, I guess.
Yeah.
Ahura Mazda was the embodiment of benevolence and light, while Angra Mainyu embodied malevolence and darkness. Both beings existed independently and manifested different parts of the universe. Ahura Mazda created Amesh Spentus, beings who live in the heavens with him and support his works. The universe itself was created to trap evil. Ahura Mazda created the universe in two separate parts. First, he created the spiritual plane, and 3,000 years later, he created the physical plane of existence. Once he had created heavenly beings in the universe, he created the archetypal perfect man and a bull. Okay?
And a bull.
Huh?
And a bull.
And a bull. Yeah, that's what they worship. And, Ahura Mazda's purpose is to create and bring life, but because of Angra Mainyu's antagonizing purpose, he sought to destroy. He created demons, an opposing species to all of the benevolent creatures Ahura Mazda had created. Angra Mainyu created animals such as spiders, snakes, ants, and flies. Angra Mainyu also brought suffering and death upon all living creatures, including man and the bull. However, When the man and bull died, seeds arose from their bodies. The bull created all living plants and animals, while the man's seed sprouted the first man and woman. Okay.
I mean, you look at this, you look at Zoroastrianism and where that was. You're talking Samaria, you're talking in that. This is one of the more ancient pieces, part of the Sumerian cultures. And I think it's interesting within these, Dad. This is where you see a lot of the bull. What did it represent? It represents strength. Mm-hmm. The ox represents strength. When you see pictographs, you see the bull, you see that, it means strength. This is where all the other, you talk about the Canaanite, El. This is the word El.
Yep.
Elohim, we see this, and this is why a lot of people, even within the Bible, think, well, there was a form of worship of the Canaanite god. El. No, the word just means strength. Baal. This is what you see. Why are you worshiping the strength of another culture? This is the understanding of that, and I think we fail to recognize the language, and we misunderstand it. Why do we seek after strength, power? Look at our culture today. We're seeking to put a man in this space and call it an office. We put it because we want him to what? Show strength. That's our strength. This is our strength. Hey, we'll get behind you. You represent us. Does that person really represent me? A king, what was a king about? See, culturally, we don't really grasp what's being said. We read this and we think some being up above, but that's not what this is about. Life. This isn't something that people just made up.
No.
This was a thought process that they believed in and existed in culture by this thought process. They believed this stuff. You know, we've talked about this Roman culture. These people believed it.
Oh, yeah. Just as an aside here, there's a little deal here on the side here of this.
It's a video that's playing.
It's showing things. You don't think they still do it today? Right here, there's this one. It'll come up here in a second. Euro News at the sanctuary of priestesses in ancient Olympia. And these people are dancing, lifting their hands toward this priestesses and all of this stuff.
It's still going on today.
Oh, it's still going on today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little video that's playing on the side.
Yeah. This still goes on today.
I just turned mine off.
Did you?
Yeah. The ideas of this language, and we read this and we kind of laugh and whatnot, but really I don't want to just brush those things aside. This is a thought process that says, hey, you know what? These are things that are real. People believe this stuff.
Well, they do.
And it was real in the sense of how do we understand existence? How do we understand how we're supposed to live? What's the biggest question right now in our culture, Dad? How are we supposed to live?
Yeah.
It's always been. And what is the representation by which we exist? Who in power represents my idea of life, of existence, of culture?
Good question, isn't it?
And we put these people in places of and positions of what we call strength,
Yep.
power, the bull,
Right.
El. So who are we really worshiping?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh, Brian, no. That's not true. We don't do that. Yes, we do. See, we're unwilling to actually go and look at this way.
Yeah, we are.
We really are, Dad. I know this isn't popular and this isn't what you people want to hear, because we want to continue to be bound to these nations and justify the beast, justify the nation, justify our actions. And there's no justification in it at all.
No.
Because there's nothing in it that says this is what life is. We are a Christian nation. God established this. No, he didn't. Not a nation on the face of the earth that was established by Jehovah. God brings up kings and he puts them down. There was a day that he did that.
Yep, he did.
It was. And I'm not talking about dispensational theology. I'm not talking about those things. It was a matter of what he did and what he was working with Israel.
Right.
That's what that's about. Has nothing to do with the day and age we're living in. Nothing. That was for a specific purpose that met how he was dealing with Israel and the people of Israel at that time.
Yeah.
Go read the book. The account. Go read the accounts of Israel. It's called 1st and 2nd Kings and 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Even Samuel, 1st and 2nd Samuel.
Yep.
All those accounts, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, it's all history of the nation of Israel.
Absolutely. Tells you.
And what Jehovah was doing within that to deal with kings that would not follow the truth, that would follow after the culture, developing their own culture based on the nations around them.
Yeah.
Give us a king so we can have decisions made about us like all the other nations. That's not what Jehovah wanted. He set out to find a king or find a person, a man that was after his own heart. David was one. Saul failed at that. And there were many others in that line that didn't live up to that thought process well.
Well, and to show you how weak the system is, I'm listening to the guy this morning coming in, and they're worried about the election coming up.
Oh, I know.
Well, I thought Trump was the all-in-all, end-all man who's going to solve everything.
Yeah.
But now, because he hasn't, they think, brought inflation down or this and that, which it has come down, but because he, price of eggs is cheaper now, but because they housing and things like that, they don't think he's really done a good job, with the finances and so forth. So now they're worried that the Democrats are going to win this midterm election and control the House and the Senate. And so here are the people out here. What are they voting for? Who do they really believe in?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
They're going to vote the people back in that got us in this trouble in the first place.
I'm just sorry, man. I gotta do this because I cannot believe we don't take the price of eggs more seriously. I'm telling you.
We should.
My gosh, I can't believe that we don't deal with this egg problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, oh my goodness, the price of eggs. They gotta come down.
Yeah.
I mean,
What about
after
broccoli?
all, it's about eggs.
What about broccoli? Asparagus.
I have heard that throughout the last couple
know.
years. And every time I hear it, I'm like, are you serious, man? I mean, I want grocery prices. I wish that, everybody. But the price of eggs are not coming down.
Do we have any more problems that are more pressing than that? I think we do.
Oh, do we know how silly we sound?
I know. It's just, and we think that that's the answer. No, it's not the answer.
Well, I always loved the comedian Gallagher.
Oh, Gallagher?
He always made fun of that commercial, you know, Preparation H. And he always like, if this is your problem, folks, this is no answer.
Right. Exactly. And that's the truth.
Oh, mercy. Creation. See, the reason I hope you understand, we're reading these things and we're showing you that the difference is here. We still haven't figured it out. We're still in the rebellion. We think we're going to solve our problems. We're going to find the answer to life. Because that's what this is about. Mankind is in rebellion against his father's form, image, and likeness. That's what he's in rebellion. You with me? I was gonna ask you a question.
Go ahead. I was just looking at a couple of comments.
Yeah, but we're still in rebellion over the image and likeness.
Absolutely.
And this, to me, is what is at stake here. When you're looking at these things, Dad, and you start talking about, is this, you know, we put these things in place, do we really understand the Genesis narrative and what it's about?
No, I don't think so, because, for instance, in Christianity, what's any different? They don't know who they are either.
Right.
Image and likeness is probably the most misunderstood, fought against truth in Scripture by Christians. They can't do it. You can't be that. It's Jesus in you. He has to do it all, or you can't do it. I don't know how many times I heard certain preachers say that. You can't do it. You can't do it. Well, if you can't do it, sit down and let somebody that can, for crying out loud. Next time you go to a job interview, tell them you can't do it. You don't know nothing about it. You're too stupid to even learn it, and see if you get the job.
Well, but you know,
we are made in his image and likeness. And, you know, what more is there than to try to understand that, live according to it, and let that be our foundation for our existence?
What are some of the comments there, Pop?
Well, not really. I was looking at it. Dustin just had a problem, and Drew took care of it.
Oh,
We had a little upload issue there.
Yeah,
cool.
had a little upload issue.
cool. Thank you, Drew, and Dustin, for letting us know.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, he let us know. It froze up on him.
I want to make sure that we understand that what this is about. Creation, what do we believe? Let's stop worrying about the heavens and the earth.
You don't worry about who we are.
That is what's at stake.
You know, I think when the Lord said, if they make their nest among the stars, I'll bring them down. That has nothing to do with going into outer space or, you know, flying a spaceship out there somewhere and all. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the mental attitude of mankind. Yeah. Oh, they may make their nest high. They might think of themselves way up here.
Right.
But I'll bring them down.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring them down, because the Lord
You don't.
He's not going to put up with it.
Mm-mm. We've rebelled against our Father. We've
Yep.
rebelled against what we were created to be, to redefine existence. And that's been at the heart of everything. That's what these are about. That's,
Yep.
you know, you look at these stories and you look at this and you're like, man, how do people, you know, the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation, you have went on high. The heaven had not been named. Firm ground below had not been called by name. Not but primordial Aspu, their begetter. And Mumu Tiamat, she who bore them all, their waters comingly as a single body. No reed hut had been matted, no marshland had appeared. When no gods whatever had been brought into being, uncalled by name, their destinies undetermined, then it was that the gods were formed within them. Oh my goodness. That was, you have the Popol Vuh. This recounts the story of deities who created humans out of white and yellow ears of corn. As Drew said earlier when we were looking at this, he said, I didn't know we were popcorn. This is a Mayan creation story. This is Mayan. Mayans throughout Central America, Central South America. Yoruba, the chief god Oloran. You have another one here. This is from West Africa, Dad. Then you have the Hopi story of the Spider Woman. You have Prometheus. You know what's funny is, I was telling this to Steph. We were talking a little bit about this on the way in. You guys remember the movie Prometheus, right? I don't know if you ever saw it or whatnot. It was about that. It was, we found the origin of life.
Yep.
They were going to get it. You ever watch these movies that are like this? They're about, we found the origin of life. And you know what? They end up very bad. Why do they all die? If we found the origin of life, don't you think we ought to be? No, life doesn't want you to find it. Why? Why is everybody dying when we found the origin of life, man? And it's all bad and it just crashed and everybody, no, we shouldn't be here. We got to go. Oh my gosh, we're all going to. And that's what Prometheus is too. That was the story there.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness. Prometheus is about the story of Zeus and all those guys. Zeus defeats his father, Time. Chronos, that's what Chronos means, is time. You have a chronometer. It's how you measure time. That's what Chronos, the Titan Chronos, who beget the gods, Zeus, and that's the story of that. I think it's fascinating when you look at those things.
Isn't it funny, too, that in almost all these, the gods all fought each other, killed each other.
Yeah.
Zeus, he bound Prometheus, had his liver pecked out by a raven for eternity.
But you know what, Dad? Here's the thing, too. I think some of this, you know, we all kind of poo-poo some of these things and whatnot. But what was happening before the flood? And I think a lot of this stuff's handed down. You have the Watchers. You have, you know, just even in the biblical narrative, there was war in heaven.
Oh, yeah.
There was these things. And I think some of these stories and some of this stuff has come down through maybe glimpses of that. Misunderstanding of it. I believe that. I think it's much more than we understand. The Egyptian sun god, Atum, is there. You have brother and sister deities create all life in Japan. That's how they even talk about how the drippings of that made the islands. Then you have the Andes, the Incan Viracocha. And that's a few of them there. There's more. You go look. And take a look at this. But this is the point of it. You know, we look around. I think we're still worshiping El. Strength. And that's the thing about all of these stories here, Dad, in my opinion, is what you look at when you're seeing the idea of how you are going to understand what we're dealing with. I look through the cultures and I still see the same types of thought processes. We're still looking for the origin of the universe. We're still setting up our own idea of power and strength and gods. And I think that if we're going to really find a way to life, we've got to find the right source. And I think Jesus is that source. It is verifiable fact. He came into the world, how he was born, what he did. Didn't make him God, doesn't make him. But he came into the world as the second man. Jehovah showing us what he had done from the beginning. The Genesis narrative right there in action, understanding who we are and what we are as people. and that we don't have to rush after other strength. We don't have to find strength in our own hands and what we're doing, even in this country. Why? What's the purpose of all of this? What are they working towards? What are they trying to create? There is one kingdom. Jesus sits at the right hand of that one who is the king of that kingdom. And that's Jehovah, the one who exists. If we're going to put our trust and faith in anything, that's what I would encourage you to do. Jesus is the mark. What is found in him is the image and likeness of Jehovah. That is the mark of the high calling of God. We need to press towards that. That's where our strength comes from. That's where it all is. The author and the perfecter of our faith. He did it before any of us, and he showed us the way that we can as well. And that's what we need to follow. I hope.
One last one I thought was kind of funny. The Egyptian sun god Adam wept human beings into existence. Now, I don't know if tears would have stood around the sun or not. I think it would have dried up pretty quick. Anyway.
Have a great day in the Lord. Always remember to give love.
And give life.
And give Jesus.